Valorant fans, what's up? Welcome back to the Valorant Report. I'm IHOLDSHIFT, trying to give you guys the breakdown of not just the Pulse Invitational, but we're going to take a brief glance at what's going on in Europe with the Vitality Ignition series and that EU Open that had a qualifier that led up to it. Again, they already played through their group stages, so let's dig right in and take a look at the 4-team double elimination style bracket. Best of threes all the way through this bracket until the grand finals is a best of 5 with a 1 map advantage to whoever comes out of the winner's bracket. So let's dig things down. I'm going to give this pretty brief for you, just give you the spark notes in case you've been missing out what's going on in Europe. There's been a pretty exciting scene going on over there, as there's really, I would say, 4, 5, maybe 6 teams that have really kind of taken the show away from the other competitors so far, but teams are still forming and growth is being made. One of the premier teams, though, up on top as you see them, they had a very clean run through their group stage. It's G2. They'll be playing up against the Party Parrots. And this is an interesting one, I think, because I feel like a lot of people's minds, these probably would be 2 of the top 3 squads, maybe, when it comes down to it, depending on who you ask, of the top teams in Europe. G2 cruised through their group stage, like I mentioned. They had a 44 map point differential, only dropping a single map to Fabricant in their group stage. Mixwell has been looking like an absolute monster this tournament so far. So, that said, look for him to continue to be the big catalyst for G2 in this matchup versus Party Parrots, which I wouldn't be surprised to see it go the distance here, as Party Parrots, they went 2-1 in their group stage, only losing their one matchup to Prodigy, but they finished off with only a mere even map differential, as they also dropped a close map to Bonk. Angel and Shao have been looking relatively good, and I will say between those two, someone has to step up and shut down Mixwell if the Party Parrots want to have a chance at G2. But that said, if Mixwell gets shut down, you wonder who the next guy up for G2 is going to be, because for the most part, it's been the Mixwell show over there in Europe. In the second matchup, Prodigy will be going up against Fabricant. Again, if you're familiar with the EU scene, these two team names will sound relatively familiar, as Hip is one of the bigger players, obviously, in the EU scene, playing for Prodigy, who technically won their group. They had a 2-1 map count, even with Party Parrots, but they had a better map differential through and through. They did, though, have a very tight series versus Bonk. A lot of really, really close maps, and they dropped their surprising loss to the Bread Hunters, as they lost 2-0 there. Power has been absolutely explosive, though. In the matchup versus Party Parrots, he dropped a total of 72 kills in the 3-map series for that pivotal win, which eventually would lock them up that top spot of their group. For Fabricant, though, they've had a little bit of trouble with Apexis, but they were able to roll through Need More DM with really not much issue at all. It's been essentially for this team, win by the team, lose by the team. This is a full 5-man group that we haven't really necessarily seen a true standout, but they are showcasing that individually they definitely can hang at this level. So a very interesting matchup on both of those fronts for the EU-type Vitality bracket. We'll give you the full recap of what goes on as we finish things off. Let's transition though over to North America, as in the Pulse Invitational brought to you by Northern Arena and the Spike.gg. They would start their first round of what is their single elimination playoff bracket, and it was a good day of games. Let's start off talking about the banger up top, TSM versus Cloud9. And you remember that time as recent as like 24 hours ago when I said that maybe C9 didn't look as good as TSM, even though TSM had a bad weekend? Oh boy, was I wrong. And hey, it's only embarrassing to make calls like that if you can't laugh at yourself, because boy howdy, if C9 watched that video, I'm sure they absolutely would laugh at me then. Starting things off on a 13-1 on Ascent for Cloud9. And this is a matchup that I think a lot of people were looking at, TenZ versus Wardell. You look at that matchup head-to-head, and you've probably used that as Exhibit A in your opening argument statements when it came down to who's the best player in North America. And this matchup did not disappoint at all. But after the first map, it was all TenZ, as TSM had absolutely nothing going for them on Ascent whatsoever. Definitely need to go back to the lab there. Although not as convincing as a 13-1, Wardell would not be stalled out on Bind, as he came out explosively. Him and the TSM boys would bounce back nicely as they find a 13-7. And okay, now we've got map 3. And let's be honest, we all, after the first two maps, I don't think anyone was expecting the third map to be a blowout. We needed to see a close game, and we absolutely would get a close game, as TenZ and Wardell would duke it out toe-to-toe. But in the end, TenZ would rue the day, as he was able to clutch up on a thrifty round with a cheeky little judge play to put the nail in the coffin. C9 able to beat TSM 13-10 on Haven, 2-1 overall. And as you see it, for Code 7 and Together We Are Terrific, this is not a matchup that Code 7 has found a lot of value on in the past. It would once again elude them here, as they would not be able to find anything. A 13-5 and 13-4 win on Haven and Split respectively for Together We Are Terrific. Gen G versus the Charlotte Phoenix. I framed this one up as being the potential dark horse of this tournament could be right here in this matchup. And although Gen G would take this one 2-0, there were some good moments from the Charlotte Phoenix showing improvement and showing that these guys definitely deserve to be in the conversation for top 5 maybe. Yeah, I said it. I'll throw it out there. Anger looking pretty solid throughout the weekend. But overall, you couldn't do much because GMD really took over the series. He went 39, 19, and 13 overall with a 13-8 win on Haven. And then he would break 20 kills with this cheeky little 4K at the end of Bind for what was eventually a 13-4 map count. Gen G make their way into the winners semifinal. And then we would close out the day, Immortals and Sentinels. And I told you yesterday, this was a matchup that we've seen before. These guys start to feel like they're building a bit of a rivalry. And well, you like OTs? You like round 25s? Do you like insane clutches? Because there were zero shortages of either of those in this matchup, as both games would go to round 25 and both saw some absolutely insane clutches. On Ascent, it was the Sinatra show for the clutch ace over towards the ace site. And then the opposite, over for Bind, it would be Zombs, as he would lock things up with this tasty little 3K with the Bulldog, and it would be the Sentinels finding a way to make their way past Immortals at a 2-0 map count. So for tomorrow, Cloud9, Together We Are Terrific, Gen G, Sentinels, both of these matchups have had some extensive playtime. For Together We Are Terrific, they were able to beat Cloud9 at the 100 Thieves tournament 13-7, but beyond that, at the T1 Ignition series, they beat them twice there. So, Cloud9, are you going to have enough power to get through this? I would say still a bit of a surprise squad of Together We Are Terrific. Things are looking good for We Are Terrific, though. They played well today. It was a matchup they should have won, and they did, but oh, I'll tell you, they look pretty solid. Can someone shut down TenZ, though, is kind of the opposite question that I pose. For Gen G and Sentinels, Sentinels were able to beat Gen G 13-4 in the 100 Thieves tournament, and then 3 different times at a comfortable level at the T1 Ignition series. So you feel like the favor has to be that Sentinels will get past this Gen G squad, and for Gen G, do you have more in the tank for some individual performances to where you can shut down the power that is the Sentinels roster? You cannot ever take a numbers advantage for granted against this Sentinels team. Too many clutches came through today, and what was an absolutely insane matchup of 2 maps versus them and Immortals. So a very exciting day coming forward for you guys. Again, I'll try to do these recaps as much as possible. I hope to be doing other roster news and other kind of power rankings things. So if you're looking for competitive Valorant information, recaps, whatever, I hope that this will be your new home for that here with the Valorant Report. I'll catch you guys next time. Make sure you subscribe and like on the way out if you enjoyed the video and the style of content. And until the next one, hope you guys keep holding it down. Later. Bye-bye.